Hello. It's nice to see you again, Trailblazer. I was hoping to bait Steven into assisting me with my experiments since he's a genius I haven't yet used a trait of in my attempt to cultivate a genius life form. But since you're here and you already have prior experience with my experiments, would you be willing to continue acting as my assistant? Thank you. I can always count on you, and don't worry, you will be compensated. I'm very grateful for how you've nurtured all of my creations in my absence, and for all the additional data contributions you've made on them. Before we begin, to protect you from any potentially harmful substances, chemical reactions, or other dangers, please allow me to fit you with these goggles for your safety. And please use these gloves to your right as well. Thank you. We will be handling many different materials, including samples of a curio that I was able to extract while helping Herta translate its appearance and properties for use in the simulated universe. Okay. Here's a clipboard for you to record observations during the experiment. Thank you. Do you have any questions about the experiment? Yes, I suppose I should explain what we will be doing exactly, and what I expect of you. The goal of this experiment is to create a life form that is a genius from the very start of its existence. We will use the same process as my previous trials, with a few adjustments. Our first objective is to make the intellect substrate, composed of enlightenment, practice, and starquakes, all in equal proportion to each other. Our second step is to add the desired genius traits to the substrate. I hypothesized that in previous trials there was not a substantial enough concentration of genius trait present during the cultivation to result in the desired level of intelligence within the life form. For this cultivation, we will be increasing the concentration. I have also noticed that the life forms from previous trials express singular personality traits rather strongly, possibly hindering them and encouraging single-mindedness. Many life forms from previous trials express one overarching goal: receiving acknowledgement from me, their creator. I wish for the life form from this trial to pursue other unique goals instead. I'm not sure why the others have taken to me so strongly. It hinders them, I believe. I wish for them to have other goals, other purposes. I wish for them to find fulfillment in a different way, one that does not rely on gaining others' approval or recognition. I apologize for getting a bit off topic. The main point I wish to express is that I would like to cultivate a more balanced life form with a variety of personality traits this time. The third step is to add any other material to influence the life form's appearance and physical traits. The fourth step is to stir everything together thoroughly. We will then heat the mixture in the life form oven. Finally, we will remove the life form from the life form oven and record observations. What I require your assistance with is documenting the process, recording your observations, and I would appreciate any insight or ideas that you have as well. Oh, and as we go, if I make any errors, please make note of those as well. Are you ready to begin? Okay, let's get started then. Firstly, one part enlightenment. 1 part practice, and 1 part Starquakes. These starquakes will facilitate the occurrence once the mixture is placed into a device. For now, we will mix these all together. This is the start of our intellect substrate. I will now place it into a device to facilitate the starquake occurrence. This device is necessary for this process because it is a quite dangerous occurrence. It is very rapid and violent and would most certainly damage the space station. This device contains them in their range of effect. Please never attempt to catalyze starquakes without the proper precautions or equipment. The process should be complete now. It happens in less than a blink. It looks quite beautiful, does it not? It's the start of our cultivation process. So many possibilities. A blank slate, an empty canvas that we can now use as our base to create the intelligence and temperament of the life form. Did you record everything so far? Let me check your clipboard. Yes, this is all very good. Thank you. Please keep recording. The next step is the most important part to record for observations. We will now select the genius traits. Oh, just in time. It seems my watermelon parfait has indeed baited Stephen, and he's dropped off exactly what I requested. This is a recording, 12 minutes and 35 seconds long, of Genius Society member number 84, Stephen Lloyd's voice. It was captured on this disc using his gloves that can capture frequencies and light within an area. This is a particularly excellent material to use, I believe, because it captures Stephen's genius rather well. It was captured using technology he developed, as well as it is a recording of his own voice. It is also a decent length recording. To determine the best materials to use in this experiment, I will take a reading of how concentrated the genius present in each material is. I will use this device to scan it, and please take note of the readings of each one for our observations. I will use this device to scan it for the level of genius concentration present. A blue reading. That is quite substantial. If we were to use this material, the life form would most likely have a shy personality because Stephen is a shy genius. I'll set it aside and we can evaluate the rest of the genius trait materials and determine the best 5. The concentration of genius in these samples is only representative of that, how concentrated it is in each material, so please do not make assumptions about the society members themselves. It has nothing to do with their level of genius, only how valuable these particular materials would be to our experiment. This bottle is a very early prototype of number 77 Puzzles product Genius Confusion. I will now scan it. It's a red reading. Although this seems like it might be a valuable sample for this experiment, it possesses a very low potency of genius. That's the lowest reading I've seen yet while experimenting, I suspect, because this was an earlier version. This prototype would probably lead to the life form being rather peaceful. Next, I have a sample of approximately 1,241 grams of samples of number 9 Klein's man-made meteorite, which is a curio you might have encountered in the simulated universe. I have high hopes for this particular sample, because it is both from a curio and connected to number 9. A green reading. Yes, this should make fantastic genius cultivation material, although, due to the nature of it being a curio, it might yield some unexpected results. This was a romantic gift to number 7 from number 9, so the life form would likely have a romantic personality. I believe this would be an excellent contender for our research. Fibers from number 4 Pokakakumon's candy-colored skirt, said to have been worn when she murdered number 27 Rupert the First. A sample like this, connected to such a significant event, is bound to be useful for this experiment. Yes, a blue reading. That's very good. This sample would likely lead to the life form developing a cunning or mysterious personality, as Pokakakumon is known as the Lord of Silence and is quite the mystery. This embroidery, hand-stitched by me, number 81, is of a plum cake. A green reading. Yes, that is sufficient. I assume if this embroidery was used in the experiment, the life form would have a rather meticulous personality, like myself. Number 55, Yu Qingtu, made me a glass of her pinkest collision once, and I asked her to give me a bit more to set aside for experimentation. I'm not sure if it would suit our experiment today because of its perishable nature, but I will scan it. A yellow reading. The genius concentration seems rather low. I suppose I've stored it too long. Adding this would likely encourage the life form to develop a pessimistic mindset. A blueprint of number 56, alias Silas's synesthesia beacon. It should be rather self-explanatory. I'm expecting this one to have quite a high reading. As expected, this is the highest reading we've gotten so far. This is a very good candidate for material for our genius cultivation. The life form would likely be an extrovert if this was used in the cultivation process. Now that we've assessed all of these components for their genius concentration and for the potential effect on the temperament of the life form, I'm curious to know what your 5 picks would be. Yes, I see the appeal of adding those. Your reasoning is sound. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with me. I'm very grateful to have another person's point of view. I believe Stephen's recording, Polka Kakamon skirt fibers, Elias Silas's blueprint, my embroidery, and the samples of the man-made meteorite would be the best candidates for an experiment with the goal of creating a genius life form. The concentration of genius in these were all quite high, and they will encourage the expression of a broad range of personality traits within the life form. A life form with a high concentration of genius would be most ideal for this experiment. Additionally, possessing a balanced disposition would encourage a large range of thinking and open-mindedness in the life form, which could potentially aid the life form in exploring and pursuing its own thoughts and ideas. Oh, that's certainly an unconventional suggestion. I'm not sure even adding spectacular quality trash would be a good idea. It's not known what the trash is composed of, and the effect on the life form would be... it might even be dangerous. Okay, to satisfy your curiosity, I suppose we can evaluate the genius concentration of your spectacular quality trash. You say you received this from a genius trash can? Who guaranteed its quality? Alright, I suppose it doesn't hurt to investigate a bit. Wow, that is indeed spectacular quality. This is the highest reading I've ever gotten. Would you really be willing to part with your spectacular quality trash for me? For the experiment? Thank you so much, Trailblazer. This might be the breakthrough I was looking for. It seems one should consider all options in science. I never would have thought that trash, of all things, could bring anything to such a delicate and temperamental process as life form cultivation. But this creativity of yours might bring us something rather unique this time. Thank you. I'll make sure you are compensated for this. Please turn your attention to this document, with which your previous assistants, genetic mutations in this particular type of life form, have been mapped out. I believe some of these traits are more compatible than others. I am worried solid water would dilute the potency of our genius components. Are there any physical traits you desire for this life form to have? Yes, icing would be a very cute trait. We can try to encourage that mutation. We just need some protein rice, which I have on hand. We will use this in our experiment. I will preheat the lifeform oven now, so that it has adequate time to heat to the proper temperature for the cultivation process. Now, it is time to gather everything all together. The intellect substrate, and the genius traits. We will mix these all together in the oven. Once it has reached optimal temperature, it must be done very gently and precisely. The mixture will be heated at 310.15 degrees Kelvin, which is the perfect temperature for the life form to develop. I will set a timer for when the heat must be lowered to 293.15 degrees Kelvin, where the protein rice will be added in. We can relax for a moment now, Trailblazer. Thank you so much for your assistance thus far, and for your input and your spectacular quality trash. It's all been very invaluable. After all of this is over, I would like to invite you for tea and pastries with me. What kind of tea do you find most enjoyable? That sounds wonderful. I myself enjoy oolong. I find the flavor to be quite complementary to the sweetness of pastries. I'll start planning to bake something that will pair well with the tea that you like. I am very curious. Can you tell me about how you acquired the spectacular quality trash? I'm rather curious about this genius trash can. Would you perhaps introduce me one day? Trash cans are something I have yet to do any research on. I hadn't considered them as life forms before, but your contribution to the experiment is making me wonder. I see. Wow. You're not fabricating any of this, right? It's a little difficult to believe, but as someone who is dedicated to my research and has seen some very interesting things, I suppose anything is possible. Thank you so much for sharing with me, Trailblazer. I am very excited to see what results our experiment will yield. Oh, it's finished preheating. Now, I can add the genius components and intellect substrate to the lifeform oven. Firstly, the intellect substrate. Next, the spectacular quality trash. The synesthesia beacon blueprint. The man-made meteorite samples. My embroidery, Polka Kakamon's candy-colored skirt fibers, and Steven's voice recording. Beginning with higher heat helps to solidify the details and outer shell of the life form, and encourage reactions between the components. It is necessary to then lower and maintain the heat for the rest of the process to encourage the combination of the components, encourage mutations that express as physical traits such as the icing from the protein rice, and to create the perfect environment for the rest of the cultivation process. Everything is quite delicate. I wonder, will the trash make the life form more resilient? I will now add the protein rice. Just a bit longer and the process will be complete. To review, the expected personality traits are shy, mysterious, meticulous, introverted, romantic, and perhaps something unexpected from the spectacular quality trash. I believe this is a good balanced combination. Tell me, Trailblazer, how have your travels been lately? I'm certain you've had some noteworthy experiences, and the Nameless never seem to have a dull moment. The time has finally come. Our experiment is complete. I cannot wait to see what kind of life form has been cultivated. Wow, what a beautiful creature. I'll just have you situated here. Is that uncomfortable? Let me find you something to keep you upright. You can rest against my bag. Okay. Hello. I'm Ruan Mei. I know this must be confusing for you because you have just begun your existence. But don't be scared. You are my latest experiment and you're perfectly safe here. We're just going to make some observations. This one is unique. The trash had an unexpected effect on its physical features. It has iridescent eyes. Please take some pictures for documentation. We're just going to take some photographs. Is that all right? It won't be painful. It's just for my research records. There, thank you. The protein rice had the desired effect on its physical appearance. That's excellent. What about its intelligence? Can you understand me? Don't be scared. I'm going to connect with you using a synesthesia beacon. It won't hurt. We'll just be able to communicate easier. Yes. I understand. Any questions you have, please feel free to ask. Oh, you're sleepy? Oh, sure. Please rest. We can speak more later. This spot should be comfortable. For now, it will rest. Its intelligence seems very promising. It could understand me before I even used the synesthesia beacon. So, perhaps it has an aptitude for language. I wonder if that was the result of using the synesthesia beacon blueprint, or perhaps the fact we used a curio, or maybe even perhaps the fact that we used your spectacular quality trash. How exciting. Thank you for all of your diligence and hard work. I will transfer you 300,000 credits for your assistance, and for compensation for the spectacular quality trash that you have given. What will I name the life form? Oh, I'll give you the honor of naming the life form since you've looked after the others quite well. That's a very suitable name. It's quite fitting. Thank you, Trailblazer. Maybe I should enlist your help as lab assistant more often if you're willing. Oh, and Herta wants me to remind you anytime I may come across you to please continue to test out her simulated universe. I'll be inviting you for tea and pastries soon since this experiment has come to a conclusion. Goodbye. I look forward to our next meeting.